Hi everybody, game 2 of Crippling Rides number 9. I'm facing this time Darkest, a player from Team Canada. We both got crushed on game 1 and lost 1-19. So we are at the bottom table, so to say, virtually speaking at least. And I'm facing his Highborn elf army. If you didn't watch the previous video, I would strongly recommend to do so, because I did a quite detailed matchup and map analysis. So I think it would give you some insight on the matchup and how I feel things before going into the battle report. Okay, my list, you have it, you saw it multiple times, so if you want to watch it again, just make pause. And the list of my opponent, I talked about it during the matchup analysis, but basically Master of the Canoic Tower, High Prince with the big silver spear, a Mage of Pyromancy, a Commander BSB on a Sky Sloop, 23 Throne Masters, 24 Seaguard plus 17 Seaguards, 6 Knight of Rima with the Ban of Becalming, stealing a Veil token at each magic phase, 10 Lion Guard, Lion Chariot, and 2 Piece of Chaff, so 1 time Elian Weaver, and 1 time the Giant Eagle. We played Marching Column and Secure Target. As spell, I chose the 3 Blasts, so Wrath of God, Trial of Face, End of Even. I talked as well about this during the matchup analysis, thinking that it was a good way to trade the BSB with Trial of Face and End of Even. Basically, I can do a lot of damage on him since he has only a 6 upward save. And Wrath of God is always a good spell against a quite static army. And then the 2 combat boosts, 1 time Smite the Unbeliever, 1 time Shadow of Umi. No Binding Scroll in his list, so should be able to get at least 1 -1 to wound in combat if I need it. Which might be useful if I go, for example, with the Rock against One Master. It would wound me on 6s rather than 5s. It's something a bit different. And then he chose for Pyromancy the 2d6 from Pyroclastic Flow, Cascading Fire, Flaming Sword, of course, which is really good to boost the shots with +1 to wound, and Scorching Salvo. For the Master of the Canoic Tower, I decided to go with Quicksilver Lash, which is a good threat against Rock and my general. The spell 1 from Cosmology, Shamanism, and of course Raven's Wing, plus Flavor of Meladis, which is one, for me, really one of my favorite spell, a hereditary spell for sure in the game. Is really a very good spell. Hard to cast, but then the effect is just really strong. Matchup analysis. To be honest, I don't fear that much the magical setup from my opponent. Of course, it can harm my scoring unit and my chaff, but I mean my main threats, the 3 hunters plus the 3 monsters, are quite safe against Pyromancy. I have to play my general within the Tiger unit because he has Quicksilver Lash, and yeah, Quicksilver Lash against my general is just too strong with a 3-up and 4-up regen. And of course I have to be careful with Panic and have always good BSB ranges to avoid him panicking my scoring with pyro damage. I expect defensive setting. I talk quite in detail in the matchup analysis about this. I think in this matchup, which is rather positive for me, the best way to approach this game for my opponent should be quite defensive. So if possible, I would like to start. He has not a lot of drops, so I should be able to get some information about his deployment only with the first 3 drops. So if I can, I would like to start to drop and try to start the game. Due to the map analysis we did with Lichmeister, we saw that to take the top would be good for an aggressive army because it would deny some advantage for a defensive opponent. The Ambushing Keen Eater might help me to open a little bit the game, even if he is behind and blocking. I could use them as chaff as well, so they might help me to open the game in the turn 2 and 3 probably. And of course I will try to put pressure on the BSB. Yeah, I mean with Hand of Even I can one-shot him if I'm lucky. With Trial of Faith I can do up to 3 wounds in 1 spell if I'm lucky. So I have a good threat against this BSB. And I need to put pressure with these 2 spells, and then he has to choose between taking these 2 spells or the Wrath of God in some phases. So that might be a bit too much for him to handle. Okay, deployment. I chose to start from the left, he chose to start from the right. I put my first 3 drop where I started to drop were tribesmen, a giant, and a cat. He decided to put first an eagle, the 10 lion guard, and then the Ellen River. And then I decided to drop everything, so Rock, Chairman's unit, BSB, who wanted to profit from the hill to get some hard cover in the early turn. My last scoring unit, so here you see my second target and his. He decided to put first his second target here in the middle by choosing the side. He had to put first, so here in the middle. And I put, as I explained in the matchup analysis, as far away as possible. Here's second Rock, so everybody within range of BSB 18. And here on the right side, I spotted right away with the first 3 drops that there should be some opportunities on this side. If you see his deployment, he has here the 2 Seaguards block, here's the High Prince, here's the Mage, and here you have the striking force, so the high strength Knights of Rima, and the unit of Sword Masters. Here you have the BSB and here the Lion Chariot. So I saw straight away that I would have some opportunities on this side. That's why I put it both my general, the Tiger, and of course the second Hunter, who might be a good threat. Okay, let's start. Ogre turn 1. I move out of arc of the Lion Guard. I had the first early charge. These guys, the 3 tribesmen, they were on the flank of the 5 Ellen River, and I took the 11 charge. He decided to flee it. I thought it cost me not a lot. I forgot a bit about the cover fire, so I took 2 wounds from that, but I thought it's still quite interesting to get this charge. I would have tribesmen in the middle of the board to open the game in the later stage. Can be annoying for him, so why not take it? I mean, I'm in the flank, let's go. I charge 11, he decided to flee all the way down, causing 1-2 panic check, passing the lion, passing both and the eagle. And I forgot to tell you about the trappers. Great position for the trapper in this game. They started on the field, so it could be quite annoying for him if you want to go for the second target. And then with my first turn, I'm able to move within the forest, so trapping both these 2 pieces of terrain seems quite interesting for me, since I will go from both sides in my aggressive approach. So right side, I move out of arc as fast forward as possible with the Rock. The idea with both Rock was to get some kind of cover from the forest against his shots. And I move forward with everybody to get 24 range to the Ramanite with the Shaman, and I stay partially behind the hill with the BSB to gain hard cover against his BSB shot. Don't want to risk taking any wound early on the game on the BSB, and yeah, everybody moves a bit. Giant moves forward as well. The idea with the Giant will just be to come around and threat him a little bit to force him to look that way, not giving him the possibility to move forward with the Ramanite to threat me. That's a bit the idea. Magic. I start with a Hand of Even boosted on the Ramanite, causing 1 wound. Then I'm casting a Try to Face on the Ramanite. My opponent, to my surprise, we had, I think, 7 dice against 5, decided to dispel the Try to Face, and then with the Wrath of God, 3 dice against 3, I guess, or against 2, 3 dice against 2, I'm able to cast the Wrath of God. So that's really good news for me. Able to kill one Ramanite turn 1, and of course to get Wrath of God in turn 1 against such a static list. I mean, it will be really interesting for me. So quite happy to get the Wrath of God, and a bit surprised. Maybe that was a small mistake from my opponent to let this in. I think he should have focused all his dice to dispel Wrath of God, because it can do a lot more damage than 1-2 dead Ramanite. Turn 1, Highborn Elves. But just to close this chapter, it's always the same question with Thaumaturgy. You said, okay, will he be able to cast the Wrath of God with 3 dice? Do I want to take this risk? That's always a bit the questions. So, turn 1, Highborn Elves. No charges at all. He moves forward with Lion Guard, moves behind with the Lion Chariot, so sets a bit the flee corridor to flee back if needed, and have some good counter charges, and moves a bit around to protect a little bit. So the left flank is still protected, and here he wants to protect a little bit in case I want to charge in the Lion Guard. He decided to move forward. He rallied the Ellen River and moved forward to frenzy bait my Rock, and failed he failed the march test with the eagle, and just moved out of arc of both unit. Magic phase. Of course, my priority was to dispel Flaming Sword, but my opponent did like 5, 6, 6 with 3 dice. So I had only 5 dice. I decided to let this off. I had no choice. I wanted to keep my Binding Scroll a bit longer because first turn I thought, yeah, I have 5 dice. Even if he casts Flaming Sword, should be able to get a chance to dispel it, but here really no chance. Then he rolls Quicksilver Lash on my Rock on the right. I dispel it, of course. It tries Cascading Fire, but failed, I guess, with 1 dice. And then my Wrath of God didn't came down. With Shooting Attack, he's able to cause with this guy plus the BSB 3 wound on the Rock. I was giving a front, so both have the cover of the forest, light cover, but he's still able to cause 3 wounds thanks to the Flaming Sword, of course. And here on the left, he's able with the Seaguard to cause 2 wounds to the Rock, so not bad for start. Turn 2, Ogre taking the charge, taking the bait with the General's unit. I thought might be able to handle the charge of the Chariot. I get a few casualties from the previous turn, from the stand and shoot, but I thought should be able to handle the charge of the Chariot. I have a stand and shoot with the spear, so and then with the 5 attack of the General, hitting on 3+, should be okay. So I just took the charge, he fled with the Lightning Chariot. I redirect my charge, needing a double 6 to reach the Chariot, but failed. Come on the board with the first Kineater in the flank. The idea is to threat him, depending on what he will do, but here, as you can see, I'm really hoping for the Wrath of God to come down as soon as possible. I'm using the Trapper to chaff the Swordmaster to be able to come forward with both the Rock and the PSB. I took some time to avoid him because I'm giving him a flank on the Trapper looking this way to avoid him being able to charge with the Rhymer Knight here and getting any kind of overrun. So that's my idea. So I took some time to measure everything and make sure that with the overrun of the Swordmaster he will not be able to reach any of my units. So that's a bit the idea on the left. Magic. Let's see. I'm able to cast End of Even boosted on the BSB and cause 1 wound, which is good. Then I fail. I try to cast Wrath of God, but that's dispelled this time by my opponent. And my own Wrath of God don't come down again, so I have to wait a bit more. With Shooting Attack, I'm able to cause another wound on the Alien River unit to cause Panic Check, but he's able to pass it easily with Minimize reroll, so no worries. Turn 2, Highborn Elves. I was a bit surprised he didn't use any of his chaff, so he failed. I guess he failed again the March check with the Eagle, but I guess he could have used at least the Ellen River to chaff both these units actually, and not to give me any possibility of charges, because I don't know what they are achieving except creating a frenzy check for the Rock. They are not achieving that much by being into this position. I guess it was just looking for me to charge him and then flee as far away as possible, but I would probably use them to rather chaff these 2 units and yeah, have a little bit of time. He rallied the Lion and moved with the BSB a bit far away from the Wrath of God and out of arc of everybody, out of charge range except these guys. But yeah, it's an 11 and I don't fancy my chances against the character on Sky Sloop. Moves a bit back with the Rhymer Knight and that's it. Magic. Binding Scroll, the Flaming Sword. He has the small card, so 7 against 4. Binding Scroll, the Flaming Sword. Don't want to take any more casualties because I have good charging opportunities on the next turn. I could basically go for combo charge against one of these 2 infantry blocks, so that might be interesting for me. But let's see what happened in Magic and Shooting first. Scorching Salvo goes in and does 1 wound to the Rock, and then is able to do, I guess, a couple of wounds, maybe on 1 Tribesman unit, but nothing too big. Then with the 2d6 Pyroclastic Flow, is able to cause 6 hits and do another wound on the Rock. He tries Altered Sight on the BSB, but failed. And I'm able to dispel the Quicksilver Lash on this Rock. And this time the Wrath of God comes down and did a small range, but quite a lot of casualties. 6 Line Guard and 5 in both of the Seaguard's units, so not bad at all. Okay, and into shooting, he's able to. I was able to give a light cover to my Rock with the BSB, but still is able to cause one wound with the BSB and another wound with the Sea Guards. So yeah, my Rock is dead, causing a lot of panic check. I could have avoided maybe some of this panic check, I think, especially at this unit. But luckily for me, I'm able to pass the 8 rerollable, 9 rerollable, 9 rerollable, and 7 rerollable. So not too bad. Oh, sorry, I failed. Actually, I failed this one. Yeah, I failed one. I failed this one with 7 rerollable, fled off the board, causing a panic here, but able to pass this 7 rerollable. So could have avoided this one easily. Turn 3, things get a bit complicated. That's why I took a screenshot after the declaration of charges, because it might be complicated to understand. So first charge. I'm getting a charge with the Hunter against the Alien River, who fled only like 2-1-1. So fleeing to this position, redirect the charge, charging the Lion Guard. Then second charge, the Rock, who passed the Frenzy, decided to charge because I had a very nice flee over 4 units of his. So he has to flee, causing a panic here, panic here, panic here, a panic of the Rima. What do you see missing here? Rima Knight without BSB out of the board. So 2 cavalry out of the board, which is not bad at all. So this guy redirect the charge and charges the Eagle, who decide to flee as well. Okay. And then the General's unit and the Keen Eater both go into the Lion Chariot. So here I have a 9 on Swift Stride on the Lion Guard. Here I have a 9 from the General alone, on the Chariot, 9 Swift Stride again. And here I have an automatic charge, and here I will have a failed charge. Let's see what happens. General gets in, but the other Hunter fails. I get 1 wound from DT. Keen Eater gets in, needing and 5 on 2 dice to get the overrun. My other Keen Eater come on the board. The Giant moved to the side. These guys took a couple of casualties from from Scorching Salvo and continue to flee. And the BSB, basically, I decide just to move back, to hold on a bit. What I'm seeing is that I'm not in a bad shape for the scenario at the moment. So I just need to keep things tidy, to protect a little bit my scoring unit, giving reroll to everybody, and just stay in position at the moment. I stay on the hill so I can get really long charge range with 20 rerollable. So I just stay on the hill at the moment and protect my scoring unit. I have time. I think things are going pretty well in the back of the field, so I don't need to take any unneeded risks with the BSB. Let's see other movement. Of course, I come here forward to chaff the General and his unit, so General cannot counter charge alone, and I guess that's it. Magic. I'm able to cast a Trial of Face on the BSB. Darkest tries to dispel it, but is not able to dispel it, and I'm causing 3 wounds, meaning a dead BSB. So that was really lucky for me, doing max wound, no 6-up ward save, and a dead BSB. So okay, that's huge, really, that's huge. Then I'm casting, because Darkest has only, I guess, 2 dice left, or not a lot. I'm able to cast a small, with a good dice, a small Hand of Even on this unit and kill 2 of them, and then with 3 dice I'm able to cast another Wrath of God. So huge magic face right here in the front, because I thought this unit might come forward to threat a little bit my defensive zone, my scoring base. So I just cast it here a bit forward, as far away as possible from all my threats here in the back, to avoid kill one of my own units. That's also the idea. Because I just need Wrath of God to kill some of these guys, but maybe some of the Swan Master as well, but nothing else. Okay, in combat, I'm able to kill the Lion Chariot. He does 1 wound in return to my General, and unfortunately I'm only able to roll double 2, so just stopping 1 inch before contacting the Lion Guard, who will be able to charge my General, so that's bad news. Turn 3 Highborn Elves, he takes the bait and charges, reforms a bit to shoot at Keen Eater or Hunter if needed, but moves back a little bit. These guys move forward, so here you see my Wrath of God, and the Swan Master reform and face my Giant. leaving me with a back charge for the Keen Eater, just seeing the corner, and eventually a flank and front charge. I have some possibilities, but I have to be careful about the Swordmaster doing something, because all my scoring units are here in the back. Let's see. Oh, he was able to rally the Eagle, by the way. And then he's able to cast Scorching Salvo, kill, do 1 wound on this Keen Eater, 3 wounds on this Keen Eater, 1 wound onto 2 Tribesmen units. And then I was keeping all my dice, 5 dice, to dispel the Favor of Melodies, because Favor of Melodies in this combat would be very dangerous for my general. But I'm not able to dispel it because it does 5, 6, 6, so a huge roll. So I have to let that in, and I just keep my 5 dice for something else. And then with my 5 dice, I'm able to dispel Flaming Sword. Shooting, he's able to shoot the last wound of my Keen Eater with the Sea Guards. And then he does 4 wounds with this guy against the Tribesmen. 4 or 5 wounds here, I guess. 4 wounds here, leaving me with only 1 wound remaining. And then in close combat, I hit really well, I wound really well. I'm causing him 4 wounds with my 5 attacks on 3+2+. So that's quite good. But he is able to just cancel them with the Favor of Melodies, and then with the Stomp I'm able to do 1 casualties, which is not bad. But he did 1 in return, so I'm losing by 1, needing an 8 on 2 dice. I'm able to pass it, so luckily for me. No Wrath of God this turn. So another counter. Turn 4. I'm still standing safe. Just put the lone Ogre behind the hill, but that was a bit stupid, I guess. Should have just moved this way as far as possible from his hex damage, because he's able to kill me easily with hex damage behind the hill. So I just should have moved either back or go around the house and move as far as possible from him. That was a bit stupid from my side. I didn't decide to take the charge. Why? With the BSB, because there is the Wrath of God. He has still 2 ranks, stand and shoot, a banner. I didn't want to risk that yet, so I thought just going to move back and wait a little bit more. But I took this charge, Keen Eater in the back, just moved a bit with my giant out of arc of these guys. And what else? Here we're still in combat. Here I'm still chaffing him. And here I moved out of the overrun pass and just moved a bit forward to threat him. I make sure that the overrun pass couldn't lead into my general on next turn, and moved forward with the rock to threat a little bit and protecting this secure target. Magic. I'm trying to cast. The only problem I have with my mage being so far away, I'm not able to cast the Children of Umi on the Keen Eater, so I'm only able to cast -1 strength on these guys, but my opponent dispel it. Then with Hand of Heaven I'm able to kill 3 of the Sea Guards, and then I try, that's it, I guess, that's it for spells. My Wrath of God doesn't come down, so I still have to wait a little bit. In close combat I'm able to do 2 wounds to him. He does 3 wounds, sorry, and he does 2 in return, so I'm still alive. But he was able to pass the fear check and to pass the steadfast, and now to reform. So okay. General, I'm able to do 1 wound, but he sticks in combat. He does nothing in return for me. So I was able to do 3 wounds, but he was able to cancel 2 of them with the token. So we are still in combat with 2 Lion Guard. Turn 4 of the Highborn Elves. He moves again a bit back with the Sea Guards. Doesn't want to take the bait. He is still in combat. He moves forward with the Sea Guard, trying to shoot or to threat me with Pyro. He was able to move in between of both traps, piece of train. That was good for him, and he moves a bit far away as possible from the Wrath of God. Magic, he's able to do a Scorching Salvo, killing these tribesmen, doing like 2 wounds here, I guess 1 wound here, doing 3 wounds to the cat, so they're still alive. And that's it. Then he was able to roll Cascading Fire 2d6 on the giant, and with 2d6 he was able to do 6 wounds to the giant. That was huge, that was really huge. But I cannot complain, I was also lucky in Magic. My Wrath of God comes down and hit both 3 unit plus my Keen Eater plus my cat. Both died. That's not a problem. And I was able to do 3 times 7 wounds. So that's really good. 7 wounds here, 7 wounds here, 7 wounds here. So he has not a lot of bodies on the field left. And combat, I'm able to kill the 2 line guards and just reform. He is free, so he can reform. And that's it. Let's move on to my turn 5. Turn 5, I'm able to move to the flank, just taking my time. I took 8 Swift Ride with the Hunter against his general. I was feeling pretty confident. He has no champion, so with D3 impact strength 6 and 6 attack strength 6, plus having parry and toughness 6, I was feeling really confident to kill him in a challenge. He has only 2 up arm save, defensively speaking, and then the silver. But silver is, I mean, it's wounding on 5+, and I will be within range to boost him, so probably wounding me only on 6 up. I was feeling confident, but I failed the 8 Swift Ride. I can still flee if he charges me. That was the idea, and then I set up 2 counter charges, so depending what he does, I could still counter charge with one or the other. He can only chaff one with the eagle. Here I took the charge this time. I was so close. He has no rank, nothing, so I took the charge. That was easy. And I stay back with the scoring unit to secure the target. Here you see he has only 4 models left. I just move out of arc for the time being with giant. I have still time. And yeah, I could have maybe moved here in the corner to be as far away from Pyro as possible. That would have been maybe a bit smarter as what I did. Magic. I'm casting first a Hand of Even to try to kill the remaining 4 bodies or cause a wound to the general, but he dispels it. Then I'm sniping the general with a Trial of Face, and I'm able to do again max wound. He roll only a 1, I roll 6, so 3 wounds, no ward save, it's a dead general. So yeah, that's a bit cruel for my opponent. Combat, he passes the fear check, but I will kill the champion and he will fail the steadfast. I think it's a 7 or 8, I'm not sure about the leadership. Probably a 7. He failed, but fled 11. I pursue with a 7, so I'm still behind him. His turn 5, he's able to rally. I chaffs my hunter with the eagle. Just moved a bit the sea guard. Just move back. No, just rally these guys and move them around to set up possible counter charge. But I mean, there is no big hope for him to save something from this game. Then the good thing is, with having fled the combat and then rally, now he's able to cast his 4 spell from Pyro. So that's a good thing for him, because if he would have been in combat, he would have only the 2 hex spell. Then he's able to cast the 3d6 strength 4 on the Rock, trying to kill him. But I've only, he did not a lot of hits, and I have only 1 armor save to make, and I make it. And then he tries again 2d6 on the Rock, but again only causing 6 hits and no wounds to me. So lucky for me. But to compensate a little bit that, with the Blaze, he's able to kill my giant. So that's at least something. And Scorching Salvo, I was able to dispel it. Shooting, nothing special. My turn. Turn 6, taking the charge with the BSB against the remaining Sea Guard and the Mage, who fled this direction. The General charges them and catches them. This guy moves around to shoot at them. The Rock charges the Eagle. That will be the only thing my monster will have hidden during this game. And then the BSB redirect the charge in the flank of the 3 remaining Sea Guards. Mitch, my shaman, move out of the unit just in forest to blast them. And then I'm able to secure both targets at the moment. So, yeah. Magic, I'm trying to cast Hand of Even, but he dispels it. Able to cast Child of Umi on the BSB in. And then Trial of Faith does nothing on the Swordmaster combat. I'm able to kill the Eagle, overrun, kill the 3 remaining guys, reform, and then his last turn he will just charge me with the 3 Swordmaster, hoping for something really lucky on my BSB, but I was feeling really confident, and I just kill them in combat. He does only 1 wound to me, and then I'm able to kill him, so that's a clean board, like we say. Okay, let's see. I'm able to get everything, so that's 5,900, and he's able to get from me 1,878. I get the secure target, so that's a 19-1. Let's see what happened. I think that was a complicated matchup for Highborn Elves. When I think again about the matchup, my mage was awesome in this game. I was very lucky to one-shot both the BSB and the general. He was always at risk, having no ward save on both, or almost no ward save on both. It was always a risk to take all these spells, so Hand of Even, and then try to face and so on. So yeah, I think the BSB getting killed by range damage was likely to happen during this game. The general was very fortunate for me, and then getting two Wrath of God, which did a lot of damage, was really good for me. But my 3 monsters had a quiet game. They took a lot of range damage, so my hunter were free to play. Of course, being able to start and put the 2 hunters in a zone where there were no threats was huge for me, I guess. I had an interesting option on turn 2 and 3. I still don't understand why he didn't shaft me with the Ilian River on turn 2 to avoid me getting charges with my hunter on turn 3, because I had a lot of charges turn 3 and it didn't turn so good for my opponent. And I think to come back to the matchup analysis, I think he should have probably deployed closer to the board edge to have one flank protected by the board edge. This helps a lot against very mobile army who can go around your army, and plus block my ambushes, I guess. Use some of the units to block the ambushes behind. That would have been, I guess, a better approach to defend during this game. Yeah, I think since Darkest was forced to be quite static due to the matchup, I think he should have kept his dice and really prioritized the dispelling of Wrath of God, because he cannot have a Wrath of God getting cast on 1. Even if it's only 3 dice for me, I can fail it, but still, I wouldn't take that risk, I think. And then I think 1 point for me, should have been more careful with the panic range. I lost one of Tribesmen. I should have been a bit more careful with the 16 range. I didn't expect my Rock to be killed so easily, but I should think a little bit more about what could happen, what bad can happen, and which type of panic it can generate around. So that's something I need to take out. I need to take from this game. Okay guys, that was all for this second game, so I'm able to move a bit up in the board with now 20 points, so 19 plus 1, 20 points. I will have a third and last game to try to continue climb a little bit the ladder. We'll see what happens, we'll see the matchup. I will do something similar, so matchup analysis with Lichmeister, and we will give you a short feedback of his game 2 as well at the beginning of the video, like we did in the previous video. And then the third game that you will be able to follow on my channel. For those who are interested, I posted something on the 9sage forum to give you some information. I opened a Discord server to give you an access to my live game. So if you're interested to follow them, I will announce again on the 9sage forum when my third game will be taking place, and then I will give you an access and invitation to my Discord. Basically, my game will be open, and then you can just follow it if you want. I think it's always something interesting to watch some games. At the moment, I'm watching some games of French colleagues who are playing interesting matchup. I think that's always something useful, especially for people who are starting the game or not playing since for a long time. I would strongly recommend to watch some games of good players, because then you can really see the mechanics. That's a good thing with UB and Discord. You can really follow all the decisions from the player and so on, and that could be interesting to study that a little bit. Okay, thanks a lot for watching this battle report. See you soon on my channel. Bye.